Hi everyone, my name's Louise Mowbray and thank you so much for joining me for today's rather fast-paced session on building your leadership brand. And whilst I'm at it, I'm also going to debunk a key myth so that you don't make the same mistakes that so many leaders in business do on a daily basis. There are 5 powerful shifts I'm going to share with you so that you walk away with a very clear strategy to turn your business life around starting right away. There's one thing we all know about a leadership brand is that it needs to work for you, even when you're not there. And how we can measure if this is happening is with the outcomes you want to achieve. So this could mean a great new role or a promotion, or perhaps your ideal new clients and deals, or even business partners or investors that are a really good fit for you. In this session, I'm going to help you to build your brand from the inside out so that you can attract to you exactly what you want and need. And we'll get into all of this in a moment. Before we start, I see we have quite a lot of people in this session, and I only have 45 minutes to give you what I promised, which is actionable content and real value. So I won't be able to respond in real time to your comments or queries. Please use the comment box below for anything that comes up for you, and I will get back to you personally. I really don't believe in long preambles, and I respect both your time and mine, so let's get straight to it. So first and foremost, who is this session for? This is for you if you're in a leadership role, or you may be an entrepreneur leading one or more businesses. You might be a board member, a director, an executive, a consultant or sales professional, or you're in the public eye in some way, or you may even be the face of your team, your business, or your industry body. Very simply, if you need to have a powerful, integrity-driven impact in business to drive successful outcomes, then you're in the right place. This is definitely for you. In the next 45 minutes, I'm going to share with you the cornerstones of building a powerful leadership brand. And I'm going to show you how to be deeply compelling to your target markets so that the ideally suited business opportunities find you, even if that seems impossibly out of reach right now. I need to mention here that I'll be talking to you about your target markets, your audience, and your stakeholders. And all of these terms are interchangeable depending on what you do in business. So if I mention one or the other or all three, take them to cover all people and groups that you need to have an impact on today and going forward in order to achieve the specific outcomes that you want. I'm also going to help you to become aware of what you might be doing to harm your reputation without even knowing it, and the actions you need to take to change this right away with little more than a shift in your thinking. And I'm going to help you to get connected to your purpose and your passion in business. I'm going to help you to tap into your creativity, your innovative thinking, and your leadership agility, and ultimately feel inspired and really enjoy what you do so that it doesn't just feel like hard work. I'm also going to show you how to build trust with your target markets and consistently deliver value, making you the go-to person in your area of expertise, which will raise your impact and income without having to relentlessly sell yourself. And I'm going to help you to identify what you need to do to raise your profile and get the attention of influencers and decision makers in and beyond your current networks to create what you want without a huge time-consuming effort. And I'm going to show you how to do all of this without relentless tweeting, blogging, or other self-branding or marketing you don't want to, nor have the time to do. So my promise and my commitment to you is that by the end of this session, you'll have a step-by-step strategy to raise your impact, influence, and presence to attract your ideal new business opportunities with the recognition and the financial rewards you know you're worth and deserve. Essentially, these shifts are going to kickstart your brand into working for you, even when you're not there. And if you're anything like me, by now you may be warily preparing yourself for a sales pitch with very little content, and you might be feeling a little stressed that you'd be wasting your time in this session. The good news is you can relax, you can grab a pen and paper, and focus your entire attention on building your leadership brand, because there isn't anything for sale in this masterclass, and there's absolutely nothing you can buy. So stick with me. I want to share this with you so that you can start to use these shifts right away. And if you haven't done so already, please turn your phone off, clear all external distractions, and do whatever you need to do to get really comfortable and fully present to get the most out of this session. If you're anything like the leaders and entrepreneurs I work with, one or more of these next points may ring true for you. If any of these resonate, please type yes into the box below so that I can see your response as I'm running through them. So you're looking for a new role or business opportunity. You know you're in the running, but you just can't seem to secure what you want. This could be about changing your job or getting a promotion, or it could mean that you already have a great job or that you're building your own business. However, you're just not able to attract and secure new clients or partners and suppliers or even investors, no matter what you do. You know you're really good at what you do. You've got all the right stuff. You've got the right qualifications, the skills, the experience. However, you keep getting overlooked, and other people who are less qualified or experienced are thriving. So when you look around you at your peers in your markets, they seem to be getting ahead with ease. However, this is just not happening for you. You may have lost your purpose and your passion, your drive for business, and you're beginning to feel really worried, and you're not sure that you have any value or even the energy to keep delivering. It might be that you're working flat out for the same or diminishing results, feeling incredibly stressed knowing that if you keep going at this rate, you will burn out. So this often shows up when you feel stuck and you can't find creative solutions to problems, which kills your ability to be innovative or to have the leadership agility you know you need. And I'll be talking to you about creativity, innovation, and agility as they're vital in helping us to get ahead, especially in today's unpredictable world of work. You may well have tried marketing yourself online with time-consuming tweeting, blogging, and commenting to attract new opportunities with little or no result. You may even have gone as far as to spend a decent amount of money on this, enlisting the help of a PR person or an online personal branding expert. Or you may just be at a total loss as to what you need to do and how you need to do it to have the impact, influence, and presence you know you need to not only own what you're worth, but to get ahead right now. I really should also talk about fear here. It's often the ever-present background hum that almost all the leaders I've ever worked with experience at some point. So it may be that you fear non-performance. The rate of change in our world of business today can make this a very, very real concern. You might also be questioning how you can remain relevant and have an impact and deliver real value, and most importantly, how you can do all of this from a place of integrity. And you may suspect that you're dispensable, which is really not a great place to be. I'm finding this coming up again and again with a number of clients. The reality is that business today is much more fluid and interconnected than ever before, and yet this presents its own set of challenges. When this background fear is present, you might find yourself constantly trying to prove yourself by working way too hard, which leaves you feeling stressed and exhausted. And if you feel this way, it will be affecting your self-confidence and your very belief in yourself, and you might feel that you're in survival mode. And the ultimate question, do you feel that you've hit an invisible ceiling and you just can't seem to create the income or the value that you know you're worth and deserve? This may be rooted in a knowingness somewhere within you that you may be doing something blocking you from your success. Something that if only you were aware of, you would do absolutely anything to fix or sort out and move on. If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I've got really good news for you. None of these things are the real problem. The real problem is you haven't yet made the shifts, which I'm going to walk you through in just a moment. And once you've made these shifts, you'll be able to create your ideal new business opportunities, and they'll start to find you without a huge time-consuming effort in marketing and branding yourself. You'll raise your profile, your impact, and your influence, and you'll become the go-to person in your area of expertise, which will significantly raise your value to all of your stakeholders, and as a result, your income. You'll realize that that invisible ceiling on your success was never there to begin with, and you'll start to create the business life you want starting from today. And you'll do all of this whilst tapping into your vital drive, your passion, and your purpose for business, so that you feel inspired and energized, and it doesn't just feel like hard work, which is such a relief. And that ever-present background fear will subside. You'll know that you can cope with anything that comes your way, and your confidence in yourself, your very self-belief, will soar. I need to elaborate a little on what it means to make a shift. When we shift in terms of who we are and how we go about doing things, we shift in all aspects of our lives. Our focus here today is on building a high-impact leadership brand. Saying this, making these shifts will affect all areas of your business and your personal life for the better. So a quick introduction so that you know who I am. I'm a leadership and consciousness coach. I'm a mentor, a professional speaker and strategist, and I've been doing this incredible work for many years now. I work with leaders and entrepreneurs across all of the sectors and in many countries. From a coaching and mentoring perspective, I'm an International Coach Federation or ICF qualified coach, and I'm also qualified in consciousness coaching. My speciality is not only developing leaders, entrepreneurs, and businesses in the context of today's world of work. I have a particular passion for helping leaders to develop how they show up in the world, which is your leadership brand, and the level of consciousness or awareness that you do it from, which is conscious leadership. When I talk about conscious leadership, you might understand this as mindfulness or awareness, or a term that we're hearing much more of today, which is whole leadership. What we're really talking about is leaders who are concerned not just with self, but the whole ecosystem in which they operate. And this is the cutting edge of leadership development today. To give you some background as to how I came to be so passionate about all of this, was that I've worked in the corporate world in London, initially in the investment banking and later technology sectors for a number of years. I then worked for a listed executive search firm before founding my own niche consultancy. It was during these headhunting years that I became really aware that some people just seemed to have a touch of magic about them, something that was really tough to define. It set them apart from other people, even if they weren't as well qualified. More often than not, when I presented a candidate shortlist to a client, I would throw in what I would thought of at the time as a wild card. Someone who didn't necessarily meet the brief, and yet they were deeply compelling. They had a vitally impactful presence, which was impossible to ignore. So after a number of years, I did the analysis. These people had statistically won the role just as often as their perfectly qualified competition. That compelling factor was key. And I suspected that this magic exists within all of us. And I was driven to find a way to help leaders to unlock it for themselves. And so the very foundations of the shifts that I'm going to teach you here today were born. When I founded Mowbray by Design in 2005, I decided I would focus on developing this. And it was perfect timing. Facebook had just launched in 2004, and the fact that we all have a brand which needs managing was becoming an elusive truth. The renowned methodology that I've built and the vital shifts I'm going to teach you here today have been honed and delivered to business schools, to corporates, to boards, professional bodies, and individual leaders and entrepreneurs from Mowbray by Design's conception, and I'm really excited to share these with you. So before we get into the first shift, a quick clarification here. What exactly is a shift? Well, it's not a transfer of information or an intellectual understanding of something. It's a vital aha moment, and you get to keep it if and only if you put it into action and you embed it so that it becomes part of who you actually are. So let's start with the first shift and the foundation of all things, which is integrity. All that you do needs to come from a place of integrity, first with yourself and then with other people. This is the heart of building a leadership brand, and we often hear integrity talked about and referred to. However, not many people know exactly what this means and how to do this for themselves. The simplest, clearest concept I've ever come across for leading from a place of integrity is do what you say you'll do when you say you'll do it. So this starts with integrity to yourself. I'd like you to think about all of the promises you make to yourself. It could be that you promise you'll get up earlier in the mornings, or that you'll go to the gym at least 3 times a week, or perhaps that you'll lose 10 kilograms by the end of the year, or that you'll start looking for a new role as that you know the one you're in is just not quite right. You might promise yourself that you'll take that one outstanding course you know will give you the knowledge for the next big step up in business. Think of all the things you regularly promise yourself that you'll do and you never get around to doing them. And if you're not doing what you say you'll do, when you say you'll do it, you're fundamentally not building trust in yourself. And if you don't trust yourself, you'll never enable others to think of you as trustworthy. So let's do the same exercise with regards to other people. What do you regularly promise you'll do and you let it slip? It might be something small like promising you'll call somebody on a certain day, or meet a deadline, or look into something and get back to that person. Perhaps you're never on time, you're always running just a little bit late. Or it could be a throwaway comment like, we must do lunch, I'll give you a call to arrange, and you don't. So it may be that you think you're being nice, Or it could be that you're trying to appease somebody or even get them off the phone, or make your children go to bed with a promise of ice cream tomorrow. I'm sure you can think of 100 good reasons why you do this or how you can justify this to yourself. So before we go on, have a little think about all of the things you promised others over the last week that you've forgotten about or you have absolutely no intention of keeping. The impact this has on you and others is extraordinarily damaging. If you can't trust yourself to do the small things in life and foster trust in others, you will not turn up in any aspect of your life as trustworthy, which will impact how you're perceived, which is a vital part in building your brand. So the very foundation block of building a powerful leadership brand is integrity. It affects all things. Let's take a look at how this shows up in building your brand. If I see you not living up to what you promised yourself, or others, or me, then I won't trust you. I'll certainly not trust you to take care of my business, or project, or my investment in you, or recommend you for a great new opportunity to other people, no matter how brilliant I think your skills or experience are. So from today, pause before you promise anything. Are you sure you'll deliver this when you say you will? If not, adjust and promise only what you're committed to delivering when you say you'll do it. And make a note of everything that you've promised and by when, and then deliver. And if things change, as they sometimes do, immediately contact that person or entity, adjust the promise, and then go ahead and deliver. When the session is over, come back to this exercise. Start a spreadsheet and write down all the things you promised yourself that you'll do, that you haven't done, in one column, and write down all of the things you promised others that you haven't delivered in another, and then decide on an action for each one of these. Either remove them from your list or adjust the promise and then go into action and get it done. I really can't stress how important this is. Make these changes now. They may seem like small, subtle shifts. However, this is the very foundation of building your integrity-driven brand. The second vital shift I want to share with you is all about your being, or who you are, which is based on your values and what you stand for, and how that drives your doing, which is all about your actions and behaviors. You may be interested to know that according to a recent McKinsey report, US companies alone are now spending $14 billion a year on all aspects of personal leadership development, which is an extraordinary amount of money. And when it comes down to it, many of the developmental programs out there focus on attempting to change your actions and your behaviors or your doing without helping you to shift from a being perspective. Let's have a good look at how this affects building your leadership brand. So the truth is you're not a brand, and nor am I. No amount of smart marketing on digital platforms will shift other people's perception of you. Saying this, there is a huge value in managing your career as you might manage a brand. When I searched online today, I found pages and pages of personal branding articles delivering really sound reasons why you absolutely must build your brand, with very few solutions or methodologies. If you're anything like most of my clients, you'll either have tried your hand at a few of these, or you may have attended a workshop or a lecture, and the fact that you're here in this session with me today tells me that this hasn't worked for you yet. If you want the right opportunities to find you, you first have to be the values of that which you want to attract. This is the only area you have any control over whatsoever. So let's take a look at how this actually works. Your being, or who you are, drives your doing, or your actions and behaviors, which in turn leads to how people perceive you. They then talk about you and how you do what you do, which forms your reputation. And the results that turn up in your life are simply a byproduct of this process. The only area that you have any real control over are the first two, your being and your doing. You cannot manage other people's perception of you or your resulting reputation. So this is all about how you do what you do and the level of consciousness or awareness that you come at this from. Harvard Business Review recently published a study which they conducted over the last 10 years to isolate the skills of top performing executives. The findings are pretty interesting, and I'm quoting from the study right now. While exceptional executives led with a humble confidence that graciously extended care to others, second-best executives were inclined to manage perceptions, creating the illusion of collaboration while masking self-interested motives. So when you focus on building your brand from the inside out or from a being perspective, You're putting yourself into the bracket of exceptional, and this is what we're looking for. At the end of the session, when you have some time to mull all of this over, ask yourself these key questions. Who are you? What are your values? What do you actually stand for? Do all of your actions and behaviors reflect this? Are there any areas in your life where you're being incongruent, where you know you're actually presenting yourself as someone that you're not? And what can you do right now to get all of this lined up? To sum up, and the stakes are pretty high here, who you are, your being, drives all of your actions and behaviors. Line these up, and everything you do to build your brand will be congruent, it'll be effortless, it'll be in the right direction, and most importantly, it will deliver the results that you want. When you don't, all that you do to build your brand will be incongruent and it'll be time consuming. You don't want to be in the bracket of second best, trying to manipulate other people's perception of you. Most importantly, if you don't do it this way, people will not trust or support you. You'll actually be harming your reputation, which needs to work for you even when you're not there. You'll remain exactly where you are, and what you're putting out there personally and in the public domain will be inconsistent and hopeful at best. To illustrate this really important shift, I'd like to share James's story with you. I forgot to mention that any clients I talk about in this session have given me permission to share elements of their story, and I've changed their names and any revealing information to protect their identity. So James is the director of a retail company, and at the beginning of last year, he decided it was time he built his leadership brand. What provoked this was that his company had just been acquired, and there was a massive rift in the two companies' cultures. He was really concerned about raising his profile and having a greater impact within the business. He'd been focused on trying to adapt his behavior or his doing to match this new culture. However, it felt, in his words, incongruent, really uncomfortable, and just plain wrong. When I met James, he told me he was exhausted, nothing was working for him, and he really was at his wit's end. He wasn't even sure that he had a future with the company, and he was really worried about having to get out there and find a new job. We focused on going back to basics and getting who he is, his values, and what he stands for, or his being, realigned and congruent with his doing, and communicating this in a really smart, strategic way that worked for him. The knock-on effect was that this instantly shifted the perception other people had of him, which built his reputation not only within his company, but his industry. Today, he sits on the board of the holding company, and as a result of his experience, which he really didn't enjoy, he's championing a powerful, positive culture for growth, which I'm helping him with. This next shift I want to share with you is all about self-knowledge and self-mastery. When you know yourself really well and you're able to manage yourself in the moment, you're able to add real value to others. And leadership brands are built on the firm foundations of delivery of real substance. Ultimately, self-knowledge and self-mastery give you the freedom to make conscious choices in the moment. And I like to think of this as the vital nanosecond between some sort of external provocation or circumstances and your automatic reaction to this. Or in other words, an interruption of the conditioning that we all have. When your buttons are pushed, you often respond in the moment, not realizing you actually have a choice as to how you react. When you know yourself well and you're able to make fluid choices in the moment, which is self-mastery, it frees you up to having the mental and emotional space to allow the creativity, the innovative thinking, and the leadership agility you need in the moment. And having these three things available to you is what I like to call possibility thinking. And a great question to ask yourself when your buttons are pushed, which will help you to find the nanosecond to break that pattern, is what do I choose? Every deeply compelling and impactful leader I have ever worked with knows themselves incredibly well. Self-knowledge and self-mastery are totally in our hands. Ultimately, we have no control over much else, including other people, the markets, the political climate, or even natural disasters. And yet all of these things affect our ability to change our business lives for the better. To give you more insight, I'd like to share a couple of client stories with you. Michael has an investment banking background. He moved into high-end property development in his late 30s when he inherited a business from his father. Within a few short years, and by the time we started working together, he was on the verge of bankruptcy. He was feeling desperate, and he was really worried about losing his father's legacy to him. His major shift was aligning his self-branding as the face of the business with getting connected to who he really is, what he values, and what he stands for. This last year, he turned a significant profit for the very first time ever. When I asked him how much, he told me it was over £1 million. So from close on bankruptcy to over £1 million profit, that's an extraordinary accomplishment and testament to his willingness, his determination, and his courage to shift. And all from his focusing on developing his self-knowledge and self-mastery, which gave him the freedom of conscious choice and the ability to think of creative possibilities in the moment when he needed it most. And today he lives by the mantra, know thyself, and then get yourself the hell out of the way, which I think is a brilliant approach to take. My client Sarah is the managing director and public face of a large biotech organization. A supplier was exposed in an ethics scandal which went public and it implicated her company. Her immediate reaction was to put any self-doubt out of the way, reaching out to discover the impact on her stakeholders and to reassure each and every one of them. She called me afterwards to tell me that before working on her leadership brand, the crisis would have been a disaster. In the past, she would have immediately been concerned with how she could have missed this, what others would think of her, how they might judge her for allowing a supplier like this to be a trusted partner, and a myriad of other self-defeating thoughts and feelings. She said she would have been consumed with self-doubt and unable to function at the optimal level she needed in the middle of the crisis. She and the company emerged untainted, and she used the opportunity to strengthen critical relationships. And the value of this, in her words, it was beyond multi-million immeasurable. She was able to use her self-knowledge to master her own fears in the moment, put them aside, and get on with what needed doing. To sum up, focus your energies and your efforts on building your self-knowledge and self-mastery, which is all about being able to manage yourself dynamically. When you get this right, you'll give yourself the freedom of conscious choice and possibility thinking, which will enable your creativity, your innovative thinking, and your agility in the moment when you need it most. If you don't do this, you'll stay stuck. You'll not be able to move beyond self-doubt and turn critical moments into opportunities. And worst of all, you'll be disconnected from your purpose and your passion for what you do, which is really not a great place to be. So the fourth shift I'm going to share with you is critical in building your leadership brand. It's all about discovering your success factor. In visual terms, this is the anatomy of a high-impact leadership brand. At the heart of your brand is your success factor, what it is about you that is compelling to others. So this is not your marketing or how you describe yourself, it's what others are naturally drawn to come and get from you. We need to know that this is authentic. You need to deliver consistently, and you need to be known for this by your markets that count today and going forward, which are all of your stakeholders. This then needs to extend to a wider audience via a number of platforms, both in person and online. So most people come at building a leadership brand from the outside in, or the last two elements, which are your stakeholders and your wider audience, which has little chance of working. So what makes you compelling? This goes back to that touch of magic in those people who sparked my interest during my headhunting years. There was something deeply compelling about them, something we all wanted more of. You need to discover what it is that people are naturally attracted to come and get from you. In the same 10-year Harvard Business study I mentioned earlier, they found, and I'm quoting once again, executives actively solicit feedback about how others experience them and learn to be vulnerable with their shortcomings to create trust with others. So in other words, you need to ask others in and outside of your business for feedback. This is not something you can answer for yourself. When you get this right, all of your efforts are coming from a place of knowing what people want more of. And the wonderful thing about human nature is that when you know what makes you successful, you will deliver more of this. When you don't, it has absolutely no value to your target markets or audience. Authenticity can almost be seen as the gatekeeper, and it delivers credibility. If you know what it is that others find compelling about you, and you're in integrity with yourself and with others, and your focus is on developing yourself from a being or a values perspective, and you're delivering this, then you cannot help but be authentic. When you get this right, everything that you say and do comes from a place of who you really are, which makes you congruent and credible. You're able to operate from a place of truth and deliver with purpose and with passion, which is contagious. When you don't, you're incongruent and your markets will dismiss you. Consistency, or your doing, your actions and behaviors, deliver one thing only, and that is trust. This forms the perception that others have of you. When you get this right, you build your business life on solid relationships, and people will promote you and refer great opportunities to you. They'll even pay more for the certainty of you delivering time and time again. If you're inconsistent, you'll never be trusted or recommended. Your earnings will reflect this, and nothing you say or do will have the impact you need and want. And you know this, you see this in action with everyone around you every day. I'll never forget a client, Annabelle, talking to me about her experience of this, which still makes me laugh. She said, and I'm quoting her now, that even when people are consistently hideous, we trust that we're going to get more of the same. The next step is in being well known for what you do by all of your stakeholders. You need to segment your stakeholders and identify who they are and that what they want and need from you, and deliver value to them in a way and on the platforms they want to receive it. So this takes some thought and analysis on your part, and it's absolutely crucial. When you get this right, you'll build solid relationships with people who support you, they'll promote you, and they'll deliver your next big opportunity via their networks. Don't deliver value in this way, and all of the time, the effort and the money that you spend on branding yourself will be ineffective. Let's take a look at your wider audience beyond your stakeholders. Once you've built a trusted brand from the inside out, you must take it to market. This will depend entirely on what you do and the relevant places you can add value in person and online. Once again, this requires ongoing research and analysis, where you deliver the right value to the right platform, depending on what that group of people needs, wants, and values. When you get this right, you almost give to receive. You deliver value, others promote you, and opportunities that are really well suited to you will find you. You'll also be connected to your passion and your purpose in business, and it certainly won't feel like hard work. Don't, and you're just another contributor to the social and the digital noise out there. Unsubscribe, unfriend, unfollow, delete. I thought I'd show you what a typical personal brand building exercise actually looks like. Most people come at things this way. You have an idea that you must build your brand for success. You give it some thought, you read up about it, perhaps even take a course, or you decide to work with a PR person or a social and digital media expert. You realize you need to invest some money in more professional tools to take your brand to market, so you move on to online newsletters, podcasts, or webinars, and you do some public speaking. You then push it out onto the web via social and digital media platforms, and you cross your fingers, you hope for likes and reposts and forwards, and you wait. The results are a little disappointing and deflating, and perhaps you might feel a bit exposed or devalued, but you don't give up yet, and you do it all over again, hoping for a better result next time. And this is clearly not what we're aiming for. Let's now tie together all that I've been sharing with you so far. This is what the layered process I've been talking to you about looks like. All of your efforts need to be focused on the first element, your being, integrity, your values, and what you actually stand for. What makes you compelling to your target markets? What is it about you that other people want more of? The gatekeeper authenticity, which delivers credibility, is taken care of because all of your actions and behaviors are coming from integrity. They're built on your values, your self-knowledge, your self-mastery. Your being is driving your doing. You are able to deliver consistently, which delivers trust. You're no longer guessing what other people want from you or pretending to be something that you're not, or trying unsuccessfully to manage and manipulate other people's perception of you. You play this out every day with your stakeholders using the freedom of possibility thinking to deliver value to them how and where they like to receive it, and they then talk about you and how you do what you do, which forms your reputation. And when you take this to market, it's backed by your solid reputation. And more importantly, you have an unshakable self-confidence and belief in yourself based on knowing yourself incredibly well and your value to others. This is a winning methodology which I've been delivering to leaders and entrepreneurs individually through coaching and mentoring, and collectively lecturing for business schools, delivering workshops and keynotes, and in my peer-to-peer mastermind. Very simply, this works, and I urge you to start building your brand in this smart, layered way. To sum up, your brand needs to be built from the inside out, not the outside in. When you get this right, you'll attract perfectly suited business opportunities to you and repel anything that's not a good fit. You don't want to need a lot of time-wasting noise in your business life. You want the right stuff to find you. When you work it from the other way around, from a branding and a marketing perspective, nothing will change and you may well be harming your reputation in the process. To round this off, this last shift takes all that I've taught you here today and it puts it into the realms of taking action. And you know as well as I do that the thought without action is dead. So this shift is all about investing in mentoring, which is really about investing in yourself. And I'm sure you hear this great advice all the time, and you might suspect you need this for yourself. And yet so few people take the action they need to reap the rewards. No one learns in a vacuum, and it's the leaders who are able to absorb the wisdom of others who set themselves apart. We've got so many powerful examples of this, from Richard Branson to Steve Jobs and Sally Krawcheck and Mark Zuckerberg, who all attribute their overall success to one or more mentors along the way. I can tell you that in my experience working with leaders and entrepreneurs in building their leadership brands over the last 12 years, the ones that invest in themselves in this way are the ones that grow incredibly quickly. They're creative, they're innovative, and they have a really healthy perspective towards their business lives. Most importantly, they keep getting the outcomes they want. The Center for Evidence-Based Mentoring, which is based at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, reports some really interesting changes as a result of participating in mentoring. These changes significantly and positively affect us in 4 key ways, which deliver measurable results. And people who participate in mentoring are 130% more likely to hold a leadership role. The first is academics, or our study habits. The second is our relational development, which plays out in having integrity and building trust-based relationships with others. The third is self-regulation, or thinking before acting. So the very nanosecond I was talking to you about. And the fourth is self-understanding, which is all about knowing and being yourself, or self-knowledge and self-mastery. Or in Michael's words, know thyself and then get yourself out of the way. So what will mentoring do for you? A good mentor will give you knowledge, direction, and advice, and will hold you accountable in reaching your specific goals, the very things you want to shift in your business life that are particular to you. And if you think about it, right now you're aware of a whole host of things you would not have been had you not made time for this webinar. Your mentor will ensure that you really get it and help you to embed it through the right action to keep it. Working in this way ensures that the knowledge that you get is yours to keep. You don't need to learn a process and then keep having to remember how to do things. Rather, it becomes an intrinsic part of who you are. And it's quick, once we really get something, it affects how we go about doing things straight away. There's also a fast-growing area of mentoring which you may well be aware of. It's delivering brilliant results, and it's ideally suited to like-minded peers in business who are taking the same journey of growth and discovery. And this has facilitated peer-to-peer mentoring in a mastermind group. It works particularly well in building your leadership brand and other leadership developmental areas where there's a sound methodology or process coupled with self-knowledge and self-mastery. Working with like-minded peers, sharing your experiences, overcoming your challenges, celebrating your victories, and the wonderful benefits of building your networks delivers incredible results. In my mastermind, we have leaders and entrepreneurs from across the sectors and many countries coming together. Everyone wins from each other's broad experience and invaluable insights. So to recap, today I promised to share with you what it means to be deeply compelling to your target market or your audience, so that the ideally suited business opportunities find you, even if that seems out of reach right now. I promise to help you to become aware of how you might be harming your reputation and the actions to take to change this right away with little more than a shift in your thinking. And to connect your purpose and your passion in business, tap into your creativity, your innovative thinking, your leadership agility, and really enjoy what you do so that it doesn't just feel like hard work. I also promise to show you how to build trust and consistently deliver value, making you the go-to person in your area of expertise, which raises your value and your income without having to aggressively sell yourself. And to identify what you need to do to raise your profile, your impact, and your influence to attract what you want without a huge time-consuming effort. And to do all of this without endless tweeting, blogging, or other time-consuming online brand marketing. So don't wait, start this right away. Operate from integrity, first and foremost to yourself and then to others. This builds trust in yourself and others will get that you're trustworthy. Focus on who you are being, which drives your doing, which results in how other people perceive you, and your reputation, which will deliver the outcomes that you experience. Work on your self-knowledge and your self-mastery, which will give you conscious choice and possibility thinking when you need it most. Discover your success factor. What is it about you that others are compelled to come and get more of? You now understand the anatomy of the most impactful leadership brands and how to create this for yourself. Invest in mentoring to help you to really get it, embed it, and take action so that you get to keep it. These 5 shifts alone are enough to get you living, breathing, and creating the high-impact leadership brand you need to change your business life starting right away. So what do you choose? You now have a choice, and as you now know, in making conscious choice, we take full responsibility for our own lives and our own success. We decide what we want, and we must then take action to realize the outcomes that we're looking for. So you can take all that I've taught you today and you can forget about it. It'll just be another session, another webinar on any given day, adding to your understanding of something that really has no hope of changing. You can literally stay stuck and remain exactly where you are right now for the next year or 2 or even 3. But you know why you're here today, and you know why you've spent the last 45 minutes with me. You know that something critical in your business life is just not working, and you also know that you're capable of so much more. Or you can choose to take action. You can make this the year that you finally turn a corner and create the outcomes you want and need. When you take action, you'll be able to secure the right new business opportunities for yourself, all through knowing yourself really well and being able to work from a place of real creativity and agility in the moment. And your income will reflect this. Most importantly, any fears you have of non-performance, of being dispensable, or operating from a survival mode will disappear and become a thing of the past. So if this is what you really want for yourself, then I have a gift for you. The reality is that we're all very different. Each of us has particular issues and circumstances and personal outcomes we want to achieve. So whilst these shifts I've shared with you today cover what most people need, I know that they're not yet specific to you. With this in mind, I've set aside some time over the next couple of days to speak to you personally about how you can apply these ideas into your business life starting right away. And the cost, well, there is no cost. There's no charge or fee. However, there are 2 very important conditions. The first is that this is not for everyone. This is only for you if you're fully committed to building and nurturing a high-impact leadership brand with total integrity. And the second is you must already have the basic skills, the competencies, and the experience to deliver real value to all of your stakeholders. If you're at the very beginning of your journey in developing the skills you need to deliver value, then this is not for you. It will be, but just not quite yet. If these basics are standing in your way, my advice to you is to focus on developing the expertise you need first through training of some sort, and then come back to me when you're ready. So you may be wondering why I'm doing this. If this is for you, on the call, I'll help you to get absolute clarity, not only in your purpose in building your brand, but the specific outcomes you want to realize in your business life. I'll also help you to get crystal clear on who and what your target markets, your audience, and your stakeholders actually are, and the exact steps you need to take to reach them to create these outcomes. And if you want me to help you, and if we both think it's a really good fit, I may invite you to become one of the new mastermind clients I'll be taking on this month. And if not, as I mentioned before, there is no fee or cost of any sort, and I trust you'll use the clarity you've gained from our call to go on and do bigger and better things for yourself. If we do work together, I'll put you through the same mastermind program that I put all my high-performing clients through, all leaders in their areas of expertise across the sectors. The mastermind's designed to rapidly get you tapping into your success factor and operating from a place of true purpose and passion for business, which has the knock-on effect of impacting all areas of your life. And I'll expect you to be reaching tangible, measurable milestones within a few short weeks. So if these outcomes are what you want for yourself, click on the link below, which will take you to my diary booking page, and book an appointment with me right away. Or if you find for any reason this link doesn't work, then open up your browser and type in mowbraybydesign.com/apply, and it'll take you there. An important note here, as I'm doing this for no charge and there are a number of people in the session, I'm sure that you appreciate that I have a limited number of diary slots available. If this is for you, book now so that you can secure your meeting time straight away. And last but certainly not least, thank you so much for taking your valuable time with me today. I trust that you've got what you need and more from this session, and I very much look forward to talking to you personally.